Mr. Meddle is rather foolish. Once upon a time, Mr. Meddle went on a walking tour with Mr. Jinx, his friend. They walked all day long in the summer heat and got rather tired and very hot and extremely cross. And then Mr. Jinx began to sneeze. Mr. Meddle stared at him in amazement. "Jinx, you don't mean to say you can possibly have caught cold in this hot weather?" "Well, that's just when you do catch cold," said Jinx, blowing his nose. "You get very hot and then take off a lot of clothes and the wind blows and hey presto, a tissue, a cold has arrived." "How very silly," said Mr. Meddle. "Well, come on, Jinx, we'll never get to the next village if we don't hurry. I want something to eat, and then we'll go to bed, and rest our poor tired feet." "It's a pity we have to use our feet so much on a walking holiday," groaned Mr. Jinx. "I should enjoy walking so much more if I could go on a bicycle." "Don't be silly," said Meddle. "That's twice you've said I'm silly," said Jinx crossly. "I wish you'd be quiet if you can't say anything more polite." "All right," said Meddle. "I won't say another word." And he didn't. Not even when Jinx asked him a question. So by the time they arrived at the next village and looked for an inn, they were not the best of friends. They found a cosy little inn and went inside. They had a fine supper of ham and eggs, stewed plums, junket and cocoa. After that, they both felt so sleepy that they fell asleep in their chairs and didn't wake up till it was dark. "This is silly of us," groaned Jinx, waking up and yawning. "Come on, Meddle, let's go to bed. A tissue! A tissue! Oh, bother this cold." "I hope you keep it to yourself and don't give it to me," said Meddle. "Hurry up, I've lighted the candle." They both went upstairs. They had a cosy bedroom with a funny slanting ceiling and a floor that went up and down. It was so uneven. They undressed and got into bed. "Isn't it hot?" said Meddle. "We'd better open the window." "Oh no, please don't," said Jinx, sneezing again. "I shall get a much worse cold if we have an open window, with the wind blowing on us all night." "But Jinx, I can't sleep if I'm hot," said Meddle. "And I can't sleep if I'm cold," said Jinx firmly. "And what's more, I'm jolly well not going to have the window open tonight. Do you want me to be too ill in the morning to go on with our walking?" "Oh, well, please yourself," said Meddle, getting into bed. "But I tell you this, Jinx, I'm quite sure that I shan't be able to go to sleep unless the window is open." They both shut their eyes. Jinx sneezed and coughed. Meddle tossed and turned. He felt hotter and hotter and hotter. It was dreadful. Oh, to have the window open and feel a nice cool breeze blowing. He could go to sleep at once then. "I'm so dreadfully hot," said Meddle. He breathed very fast to show Jinx how hot he was. "I almost feel that my tongue will hang out like a dog's soon." "Well, if it does, perhaps you'll stop talking and let me get to sleep," said Jinx crossly. "Jinx, how perfectly horrid you are," cried Meddle. "Oh dear, I'm so hot I must throw all the clothes off." "Well, don't throw them off me too," said Jinx, clutching at the blankets as Meddle threw them off. "Oh, do lie down and go to sleep. You're just making a fuss. I could easily go to sleep if only you would." "Well, I tell you that I shall never go to sleep if we don't have the window open," groaned Meddle. "Oh, for goodness sake, open it then," said Jinx crossly. "I'll never go to sleep as long as you lie awake throwing all the clothes off me and tossing about like a whale trying to catch its dinner." "Don't be silly," said Meddle. "That's the third time you've said that," said Jinx fiercely, sitting up in bed. "If you say it again, I'll throw you out of bed." All right," said Meddle, getting out of bed. "I'm going to open the window." "Wherever is it?" "Over there," said Jinx. "What do you mean, over there?" said Meddle, feeling around. "There's an awful lot of over there's in this room, but there doesn't seem to be any window." "Of course there is," said Jinx. "Light the candle and find it." "The candle seems to have disappeared, and the matches too," said Meddle, feeling about. "Ah, I believe I've got the window now. I can feel glass." "I'm sure the window wasn't there," said Jinx in surprise. "I thought there was a bookcase there, or a table or something." Well, you thought wrong, said Meddle, fumbling round the glass. A window is made of glass, isn't it? Well, this is glass, so it's the window. Don't be silly. Meddle, I'll kick you out of bed as soon as you get in, said Jinx furiously. Don't worry, I shan't be in for a long, long time yet, said Meddle dolefully. I can't seem to find out how to open this silly window at all. It just doesn't seem to open at the top or the bottom or the side. Oh, I'm getting so angry with it. Tell it not to be silly, said Jinx. Well, I will, said Meddle, and he spoke angrily to the window. Don't be silly, window. If you don't let me open you, I'll smash you and let the fresh air in that way. But it was no good. Meddle simply could not open the window at all. He got angrier and angrier, and to make things worse, Jinx suddenly began to giggle. How he giggled! He went on and on like a river running downhill. Meddle was simply furious with him. Now what in the wide world are you giggling about, Jinx? He said. Is it so funny that I can't open the window? Yes, Meddle. If you only knew what I know, you'd be giggling too, chuckled Jinx, stuffing the sheet into his mouth to stop himself from laughing. Well, what do you know? Asked Meddle, slapping his hand against the glass angrily. Shan't tell you, said Jinx. You keep calling me silly, so I'll be silly and not tell you. Well, you're sillier than I even thought you were, said Meddle in disgust. Oh, you awful window. Oh, you horrid thing. Take that, and that, and that. Meddle hit out for all he was worth, and there came the sound of breaking glass. Ah, said Meddle, I'm glad I've broken you. Very glad. You deserved it. Now the fresh air can come in and I can breathe it and go to sleep. Ah, the lovely fresh air. Meddle sniffed and sniffed, thinking how marvellously cool the room had become. Don't you feel the lovely fresh air blowing in, Jinx? He asked. No, I don't, said Jinx. What? Can't you feel that cool breeze? Cried Meddle, climbing into bed. No, I can't, said Jinx, and he gave another giggle. I simply don't know what's come over you tonight, Jinx, said Meddle, settling down under the blankets, giggling like that over nothing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You'll be ashamed of yourself in the morning, said Jinx with another helpless giggle. I certainly shan't, said Meddle. My word, it's quite cool now that I've broken that window and let in the cold night air. Good night, Jinx. I hope you'll have got over your giggles by the morning. Jinx had another fit of giggles and shook the bed with them. Meddle shut his eyes and was soon asleep. And then Jinx slept too, though once he awoke and began to giggle again. In the morning, Meddle sat up and yawned. He stared at the window. It was fast shut. The glass was not broken at all. That's a funny thing, said Meddle. Didn't I break you last night, window? Jinx sat up and began to giggle again. He pointed to a bookcase over in the corner. It had a glass front to it that was locked, and some of the glass was smashed. Oh, Meddle, you broke that glass-fronted bookcase last night and not the window, said Jinx, going off into a long laugh. I knew you had. That's why I began to giggle. It was so funny the way you kept asking me if I didn't feel the cool air coming in through the broken window. And all the time the window was quite whole and fast shut, and it was the bookcase you had broken. Goodness gracious, said Meddle in dismay. I'll have to pay a lot of money for that. Well, well, how was it? I thought I felt the cold night air coming in, I wonder. I just simply can't understand it. I can, said Jinx, going off into giggles again. You're just a silly, Meddle, just a great big silly. And for once, in a way, poor Meddle couldn't find any answer at all.